In this video, I'll show you my 12 steps on how to run almost forever without getting tired. I'll start with 3 super easy, hacky, almost like technique related things that you can do right now. Ultimately, if you follow these 12 steps, you can improve by 1% each day, run without getting tired for as long as possible, and perform better as you age. Let's get into the whole episode.
Number 4, strength training.
Most runners know they should strength train more, but most fail to do it. This is the reason. It's a combo of time and mental energy. Not another thing, right? I got to add this on. I got to think about it. Yes, but if you want to run without getting tired, you need to set aside 20 to 45 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week to strength train. That is all. It's not that hard. Think of it as your insurance for your overall body as you get older. Running is great for cardio health, but it doesn't build strength. Running breaks down actual muscle. How to do it. There's so many plans, websites, and exercises out there that if you Google it, ChatGPT, whatever, that I won't go into too much detail. I've already done a few episodes on that here. You can click here and in the show notes. So if you know the video description, my rule is that you should try to lift heavy almost to failure whenever possible and with force, power, under control. Kettlebell swings, plyos, box jumps, form drills, and even sprints, uphill sprints are simple, low equipment ways to proper run strength training. But the best plan is the one you stick with for as long as possible. If you want to step up your game, go to a specialized running physical therapist and have them assess your running form and your body overall for imbalances and inefficiencies. They will get your history and you'll tell them your goals, and they can give you specific workouts for you, personalized. I went into detail on that here and in the show notes and video description.
Number 5, footwear.
In running, everyone thinks shoes are everything. While I don't buy all the hype around most of the shoes out there, I know that shoes in general are essential, not specific shoes like all the super shoes. It's the only thing that touches the ground and your body, your foot. I won't go into what shoes are best. I won't give you a shoe review, but I will just give you some simple guidelines and rules. You should rotate your shoes. If possible, have 2 to 3 different shoes for different types of runs. Light, fast shoes for fast workouts, races, and longer runs, and more cushion and structured shoes for shorter, easier runs. That's how I split it. Sometimes the light shoes come out for the long runs, and sometimes the super shoes with all the structure around them come out for the short runs. I kind of do both, do all. Look to change your shoes out every 400 to 800 kilometers. That's 300, 500 miles-ish for metrically allergic Americans. This varies based on your shoe, your running form, your gait, your style, a lot of things. However, higher carbon shoes or high heel drop shoes with a lot of structure around them usually wear out faster from my research and what I've seen. Minimal essential shoes and lower heel drop do last longer. I went on deep dive about shoes and feet all here or in the show notes video description down below. Future Darren here. So while editing this, I realized that to really make this stick for you, I should have some sort of interactive thing that you download. So I ended up creating a free, cool, quick summary, Cliff's Notes, TLDR, cheat sheet guide of everything that I mentioned, checklist for you to get started, and a 30-day training plan to slow down your running so that you can run as far as possible. See the show notes or video description below to download that, again, for free.
Number 6, diet.
What goes in your body is your fuel. Again, most people know this is obvious, duh. But when you start ramping up your running, you get really hungry and eat most things in sight. At least I do, and I know other people do. I've seen other people around me. I found meal planning and knowing what to eat after specific workouts at certain times is best because everyone's different. Don't like eating the same thing all the time like me? I love it. Add variety to your meals by having 2 to 3 variations of your staple meals. Hydration throughout the day is another. You need to drink water, but don't overdo it. Drink to thirst and make sure your your urine, isn't super dark. The whole lemonade thing, sure, it's been kind of debunked. So, I mean, that's a decent rule, but it can be a bit yellow. Salt, magnesium, and a range of electrolytes are just as important as drinking water on hard, long, hot days. You need a healthy mix of good fats, protein, and carbs. So we're going to get to macros. Yes, you can get away with running in a low carb state. I've done it, but if you want to run very far, science and my own research has proven the body runs best on carbs if you're doing a lot of running, even slow running. Simple sugars get a bad rap, but can be beneficial immediately before, during, and after hard workouts or long runs. Should you be drinking fruit juice or soda all day though, on a rest day? Probably not the best move. Not sure what's best? See a sports nutritionist, dietitian to dial in your diet. Yeah, I did a whole thing on that, episode on that. You can see right here, click here, or in the link in the show notes video description.
7, recovery strategies.
Recovery is an expansive area of running with 3 sub areas being sleep, reduced training, and active recovery. So let's talk about sleep first. Do not skip on this. Don't say that sleep is just an extra. Get high quality sleep and you will see the benefits in every area of your life. Not just running. If you're training for 30 minutes moderately, you need 30 minutes extra of sleep than you normally would get if you're not training. Try to go to bed 30 minutes earlier than waking up later, I found. If you're training for 2 hours, you need an additional 1 to 2 hours of sleep. So get to bed a little bit earlier. Try to wake up at the same time. Rest, the second kind of subpart. B, take days off as necessary. Listen to the training plan. Listen to your body. If you're new, take a day off every other day. More advanced runners can take 1 day off every week or 2 days off every month or every 6 weeks or so. And then the third part, C, reduced training. If you are progressing and increasing your distance, take a recovery week every 3 to 4 weeks during training blocks for your race builds. So if you've got a big race coming up, usually training's ramping up. To ensure my body doesn't get lazy, I don't reduce intensity, but will reduce volume to 60 to 80% depending on how I feel and what's going on in my life. Active recovery can also be cross-training, which leads to our next point. But before we get to that, we went into detail on sleep and rest, and it's all in this video here or in the show notes description down here.
8, cross-training.
Cross-training takes many forms. You don't have to take up a triathlon and learn how to swim open water to cross-train. A local gym has many cross-training options, such as elliptical, exercise bike, rower, or stair machine. If you're into the gym, you can also do short, high-intensity interval training workouts with weights, stairs, body weight, etc. on your off days if you're feeling up to it. Yoga, Pilates, dancing, basketball, soccer, etc. All forms of cross-training. What is the easiest and cheapest cross-training activity of all, though? Walking. Yes, so simple. And I should do it more. Want to make it more enjoyable? Go hiking in the trails with a backpack. Some people call it rucking. Throw all your water or some weights in there if you want to make it harder. Get creative. Have fun with it. While running is a large part of your life, right now, you have a lot of living to do. And later in life, you might not be in the season of running. So a bit of YOLO.
9, progress tracking.
Use tools and apps to track progress and set realistic, achievable goals. These don't have to be sophisticated. For some, a notebook and pen work, or get a fitness app to track everything. Make sure to put in how the workout felt and any notes to review what went right or wrong in the future. Yes, you'll want this. Even that one workout that you had 3 years ago, you want to see what actually happened and what you were thinking. When you are in the day-to-day, you don't think anything productive is happening. But when you look back after 2 to 3 months, you see you've accomplished a lot. Those graphs are awesome. I love seeing those graphs. So, slow ramps.
Number 10, follow the 10% rule.
This is easy. Don't increase your weekly run distance or runs by more than 10% each week. It's very simple. But yet, people argue it or people don't do it. If you usually run 20 miles or kilometers, 20 kilometers weekly, don't increase by more than 2 kilometers. That sounds crazy. That sounds like, that's not that much. But the more you push the weekly or long run distance, the more you increase the risk. When you get injured, you can't run consistently and you don't improve your ability to run without getting tired. The whole point of this episode, it's the don't die rule of running. Don't die or don't stop running and you can outlast anything. I know the 10% rule doesn't apply to everyone. A lot of coaches might be screaming at me if you're watching and listening, but 80 to 90% of runners should play by this rule and is applicable to them. This is particularly true for new runners and myself, who I'd say I'm experienced. I even drop it down to 5% for safety as I get more advanced and into my training blocks and in the season. Too cautious? Probably, but an intelligent, healthy runner with no ego can run forever. An injured runner is crying at home, licking their wounds.
Number 11, mental strategies and dealing with the setback.
Let's focus on mental strategies during running first. So the first part, there's subparts under this. Running forever isn't about pushing through challenging runs and being out of breath. That is part of it, but not really. Running leisurely is sometimes dull, closer to discomfort than actual pain. The monotony is the discomfort. I liken this to a form of active meditation. And whereas passive meditation, actually sitting there with your thoughts. Be aware of the suck and lean really deep into it. Your brain gets used to all that boredom and it doesn't feel as long the next time you go out and run 90 minutes. I talk more about the mindfulness of running here in this video right here, or there's a link in the show notes or video description below. The second subpart is dealing with setbacks, so the mental side of things. Look, if you want to run without getting tired and push your personal best distance, your best time, or both, you're going to be rolling the injury dice. It's not easy managing an injury, seeing specialists, hobbling around and Googling every small thing that you're feeling. It's not fun. You also won't have as much time for other life things like going to the meetings, planning the meetings, and you will need to prioritize, which can be mentally frustrating. Remember, you are choosing this hard. You chose all of this running stuff. It is not luck. You did not get hit by a bus. Because you choose it, you have complete agency over how you show up for the wrong and bad side of running. Follow this and you'll be running almost forever in no time at all. Get it? Want more? We go into more detail about base training, which is the whole base and foundation of running forever in this video here, or keep listening if you're on the audio podcast. Thanks for rocking. And again, if you really want to drive this home and make sure that you learn it and it sticks, I made a more engaging and free personal quick reference guide, checklist, and a 30-day plan to help you run longer. Check the show notes or video description below to get your copy for free.